In the wake of the tragic assassination in Minnesota, Donald Trump, his son, and Republican politicians have put out extremely disgusting comments attempting to rewrite the nature of those attacks. And that is not working out well for them because they're frequently being fact-checked and hounded for this disgusting activity. And so here's a little montage of how that's gone recently.
Have you called the governor yet or been able to speak to any of them?
I don't really call him. Look, he appointed this guy to a position. I think the governor of Minnesota's so whacked out. I'm not calling him. He's a mess. So, I could be nice and call him, but why waste time?
Do you regret your tweet? Do you stand by the post that you made on X?
Have you had a productive conversation about that post? Is that what the senator wanted to speak to you about?
You don't think everybody's got to tune it down a little bit or turn it down a little bit?
Listen, I think what we have to actually do, I would love to see all of that turned down, but I think I'm seeing it come from the left. Everyone talks about Minnesota, but they don't talk about the guy seems to be a leftist. It's a Minnesota politician, or guy who was appointed by the Democrat governor, vice presidential candidate for the Democrat Party, Tim Walz. The guy that committed those atrocities this weekend is a Democrat that worked for Tim Walz, that had the flyers about the No Kings thing in there.
Now, I'm not sure about that, by the way, from what I've seen. I think he voted for your dad and things like that from what I've seen.
I'll believe that when I see it.
First of all, no, he won't. Even if he literally had the ballot in front of him and it said Donald Trump, which apparently is the case, he would not believe it because he doesn't care. Also, I'm not sure his eyes would be able to focus on the paper because it is clear in that video that he is strung out of his mind. My God, that guy looks like a PSA for cocaine abuse. In any event, that's all of them just saying whatever they need to and then not gonna have any responsibility for it. Mike Lee just walks like this. I'm not gonna answer your questions. I said gross stuff that should be beneath the dignity of anyone, let alone an elected senator, but I'm not gonna answer for it. And Donald Trump mocking, attacking a guy, Tim Walz, whose name was on the list of the assassin, who could have been one of the first targets, thankfully was not, but very well could have been. And Don Jr. implying that in the wake of yet another right-wing assassin, Democrats need to tone it down. Democrats that are constantly talking about how awesome guns are and how trees of liberty need to be watered with blood. Democrats always doing that sort of thing. And so the entire thing is absolutely gross. The ballot is secret. We're not going to be able to see it in terms of party registration. Like in theory, I mean, the Republican Party there could look into it. I don't think they're going to because this is all just bluster nonsense. In the immediate aftermath of the attack, when people are paying the most attention to it, lie about it. Say that it's a trans person or something. If not that, if we have no proof they're trans, then Democrat. And if it turns out that they're not, then just don't talk about it again. Literally never mention it again, and they won't have to. It's not like their base is gonna ask tough questions about whether they've gone too far. And so that's what you're seeing right there. The truth is, the only evidence we have of this guy's political beliefs or whatever is one, that he was targeting majority Democrats, but that's not proof of anything. The guy that tried to take out Donald Trump was apparently MAGA as well. Sometimes they target their own. He was also wildly anti-choice. So I don't know, maybe some of the people that are constantly talking about how Democrats are murdering babies and everything could tone that down a little bit because you're crazy sometimes act on that sort of thing. And his friend, the killer's friend who knew him for 50 years said he was a strong supporter of Donald Trump. So, and it's a guy that has crazy preachy rants he's gone on about gender identity and sexuality. So he seems like he seems like a MAGA guy. He seems like a fan of Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh. I don't know for sure that he was, but he certainly fits that frame. And so no, there's not gonna be any responsibility taken. Let's go to some other attempts to rewrite this whole thing. So Laura Loomer says, is it just me? Or does the man in the mask, who they keep saying is the Minnesota shooter, look totally different and about 70 pounds skinnier than the fat slob in a cowboy hat the media keeps saying is a shooter? So, okay, so they come out immediately and say it's a Democrat, it's a Marxist, whatever, and then it's not. And so it's not him. He's been replaced by a lizard, by a clone, by a robot, whatever. it has to get more wildly conspiratorial because it turns out that, oops, one of their guys killed Democrats. Alex Jones says, exclusive evidence mounts that the reported Minnesota assassin Vance Luther Boelter is a patsy who is being framed to cover up a larger false flag deep state operation. Again, Donald Trump and the Republican Party are in control of every branch of government. If there's a deep state, it's them. They're the deep state. And so, no, it couldn't possibly be the Republican, it turns out to be. Interesting. And so apparently the guy also listened to InfoWars, which doesn't mean that Alex Jones is responsible for this. But when you talk about your enemies in these apocalyptic and demonic terms, some people, particularly religious people like this guy, are gonna take that seriously. Not everybody who listens to Alex Jones does. Some people just listen for the crazy fun of it or whatever. I don't understand that, but it's a thing people do. But some of it take it seriously, and then they do serious things. Let's take a look at this shot. It's a shot of the guy's car, and it's just chock full of guns. Because in America, we have a lot of crazy and we have a lot of guns. That's what we have. He had 5 guns, a large amount of ammunition, dozens of Democrats' names in his notebooks all listed out. And so apparently his wife too, I haven't heard much about the wife since the initial reporting of this. His wife's car was searched this weekend. They found 2 handguns, passports, and around $10,000 in cash, which kind of seems like she knew something was going on or there was some sort of escape plan. I don't generally keep multiple guns and 10,000 in my car. 1 or 2,000, in case I get, the desire to play some poker or something, but it seems suspicious. And we heard those initial things of like, maybe there was a network behind this. And I haven't heard anything from that since either. Now, maybe that's just the process of, detective work. It takes time. You need to look up all this online stuff, but I don't know. It seems like maybe there's something more going on, but what it's probably not is that Joe Biden told this guy to do it, Alex Jones. I think that's probably not what's going on. And so they all look terrible. They look gross, like monsters, and also weak, pathetic babies that they can't just own up to the reality of the situation. Their base is unfortunately violent and they lash out and they do it very regularly. And for money purposes, they're not gonna learn anything for this.
If you enjoyed that, make sure that you never miss another video by subscribing. And if you want a little more, consider hitting the join button and becoming an actual member. But you're probably wondering, why the hell would I do that, John? First off, calm down. The stakes in this are very, very low. But also, when you click the join button and you become a member, you get access to bonus content that I make every week, and it's a ton of fun. You get access to tons of custom emojis and more besides that. By the way, if you join at tier 3, you even get access to a monthly member hangout with myself and other awesome people, and we always have a great time. By the way, you'll get all that going forward, but you also unlock years of the back catalog. That is literally 100 or more bonus clips, top 10 lists, debates, and more. What are you waiting for? Click the join button below. Your support powers our show, and we couldn't do it without you. Or at the very least, I wouldn't really want to try. Viewers like you keep me here. So thank you in advance for joining.